Peace and blessings. What's up? Hey, everybody. Welcome to Redefining Authenticity. I am your co host, Kim Martin Raymond. I am your toolbox essentialist and founder of Redefining You LLC, where I help my clients to realign themselves, mind, body, and spirit. And I am also the home of the 365-day challenge, okay, in which we are in day 83. Okay. 83, girl. 83. Okay. So welcome.
welcome. Peace, Gizzy. We see you're here. My name is Sheronda L. Barksdale, aka Empress Shay, aka the Empress. Also, the vision specialist of Authentically Your Expressions LLC, where I'm helping you live your most authentic life. Welcome back and welcome. Have y'all
Yes.
clicked like? Have you clicked like yet? Have you clicked subscribe yet? You turn the notifications on? Did you share it yet? Go ahead and do all that right now. Get it done. Get it done.
Yes. And things have been picking up traction for both of us. So like I said, make sure that you like, follow, share, and subscribe. I need one more person to subscribe, and I'm at 200.
Get it.
People, get it. Come on. So if you haven't, like, follow, share, subscribe, do so. Check us out. It'll be scrolling across the bottom of the screen. So please make sure that you, again, like, follow, share, and subscribe. Okay. As you can see, Carmen San Diego, okay, is home. Every time you see the tree, you know I'm home. So I'm back in town for a couple of weeks, and it's good to just be home, to be in this space. So like I said, we've got things going on. You had a beautiful meeting last night. Tell us a little bit about that before we dive in.
Yes. Absolutely. So y'all know every Sunday we're having group coaching sessions called Rest. Rest is reclaiming every second of our time. That is through my online school, Smile, the Self Mastery Institute for Learning Empowerment. And so every Sunday from 6 to 8, it used to be 6:30 to 8, but we need some more time to rest. And so we're meeting from 6 to 8, and we've added a book study in. Ha!
Yeah.
My book's
Yeah.
right here. This time we're studying The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. Yes, that's the book that we're studying right now, and it was amazing. It was Kim was there. It was a great class. We got to discuss the first chapter of the book. Make sure y'all are signing up. Make sure you're visiting our websites. That way you can keep track of what we're doing, both of us.
That's it.
We
So
keep
you
our
know what?
hands busy because we love what we do.
That's it. So again, tap in. Make sure that if you're joining us this evening, that you hop in, say hi, say what's up, let us know who's here, so that way we can shout you out while we're doing the show. Okay. And so, without further ado, we're gonna dive right in because we've got quite a bit that we want to share this evening. We're going to be talking about the throat chakra and finding your voice.
Yes.
That's something that is critical. And so, just want to give you a little bit of a background on chakras. So, like I said, we're going to dive right in. All right. So, you can kick things off for us, Sheronda.
All right, so there are many holistic practitioners and spiritualists that really study the chakras, that are really into understanding the energy centers. So it's believed that we have more than seven. The seven are the main ones that are in our body, as you can see by the chart here. And there's energy centers in the palms of our hands, at the soles of our feet, and that's how we receive and release energy. So that's how the chakras work. That's where our energy centers are. And if you want to get more complex into that, reach out to me. But so the seven chakras, like I said, they're energy centers in our body. And I'm going to start with the root. So as you can see, root is number one, but it starts at the bottom. It's represented by that color red at the bottom. You sit on it, basically. That's the root. It's at the base of the spine. So that's our root chakra. That's where we learn to feel safe and a sense of belonging. Our sacral chakra, that's like between the belly button and that root chakra, that space right there, kind of where the womb area is for women. And excuse me, that's where we express our sexuality. That's where we express our creativity. That's where expression and comfort and how we feel good about ourselves is. That solar plexus is right there at the belly. Peace, Dana. Thanks for coming. That solar plexus is right at the belly button. That's our true confidence. It's a nice bright yellow. That's where we feel centered. That's where everything feels good and we have an idea of where we want to go. And you don't worry so much about things. Heart chakra, that's kind of obvious. It's at the heart space. The throat chakra, right here, throat space. Third eye is right here, right between the eyes. That's your third eye. That's where you have your intuition and things like that. Those things that you pick up and you're like, huh, that's the discernment space. And your crown chakra, it's right at the top of your head. Like I said, there's more chakras. There's chakras that sit above us. There's some that sit in the earth below us. That's a bigger study for us to go into another time. But yeah, the crown chakra is where we reach that space where we connect with what we believe the higher power to be. So that's where that crown, that's that opening where you want to connect and open all that wisdom and knowledge. So these things balance us out. But today, we're going to specifically focus on the throat because we need y'all to find your voice.
That's right. That's right. Okay. And so talking about the throat chakra, as Sheronda mentioned, it is the fifth chakra because, again, our chakras go from the bottom up. So it is the fifth chakra. And of course, like she said, it's located in the center of the neck in the throat area. Okay. And it is the passage of energy between the lower part of our body and the head. So you see that's the part that connects our body and our mind. Okay. And it's driven by by the expression of expressions in communication. So it's how we express ourselves through our voice, through communication. And that's what we're going to be focusing on this evening, the throat chakra and what it means. We want you to have a little bit of a background to know where it's located and what it means. But the biggest thing, like I said, is that connection. It is that passageway between the lower part of our body and our head.
That big old head, them domes. Dome,
Okay.
the dome, dome.
I'm sensitive about this 5 So
Okay, so some of the characteristics. Can we go back and forth on this one? Because
yes.
I love this. And I love the first one. Because what's the name of the show? Redefining authenticity. Expression. To express your truth. That's located at the throat chakra. That's a characteristic of that chakra to allow you to be able to say what's real to you and be strong and confident in being able to voice that, right?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. And then, like I said, it's about communication, nonverbal and verbal, internal and external. Okay.
Yes.
Because sometimes things, when we talk about communication, we'd be remiss if we just talk about the things that come out of our mouth, because sometimes the things that come out of our mouth are not necessarily what we see on the outside.
Yes.
Because there's that such thing as body language. And so sometimes your body language is saying one thing and your verbal communication is saying something totally different. You can say,
Absolutely.
oh, I really like that shirt, but your face is like, ugh. Okay. So it's what's happening. And so what happens is what comes out of your mouth is also a result of what's happening internally.
Yes.
There's something that's going on. You know how you say things in your mind and then you have to think about it before you speak it?
Absolutely.
That's where that communication is like, okay, there may be something in my thought process that wants to say something, but something in my mind is saying, wait a minute, don't say that yet. So there's a lot that goes on non-verbally and verbally, internally and externally when you're talking about that throat chakra.
Exactly. And I love that we're even on this particular topic right now at this time and place because we are in a Mercury retrograde. Mercury is the planet of communication. So when it's in retrograde, it's not actually going backwards, but the way the energy feels look in space that is actually going in the opposite direction on its axis. So this is the time where people are communicating usually ineffectively just because things are off. Forms of your electronics are acting wonky. My phone been acting so slow. I've been wanting to throw it. But what I love too about the verbal and nonverbal and the internal and external communication, Kim, is that people don't realize this throat chakra is part of listening. Because listening is a part of communication. If you can't hear, if you listening to respond versus to understand, those are
Mhm.
two different things that are going to come out. You're going to
Right.
feel people will automatically get offended by things sometimes because they're not hearing what somebody's actually saying. They're hearing from their emotions or from past triggers. So part of that communication is being able to listen as well and be able to hear clearly so that you can express yourself and express your truth in the best way possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. And then, like you said, connection to the etheric realm. So that
Mhm.
intuitive ability, that connection to third eye and to your crown chakra, being able to have those intuitive abilities and to
Yes.
be able to voice those,
Be able to.
you know. And that's the thing. What happens is, like I said, it starts internally. So those things that are inside, how are we processing them? How are we receiving them? So that way, when we do speak them into
Yeah.
existence or speak them into reality, that's where your throat chakra is coming in. And sometimes if we don't make that connection between our mind and our body before it comes out verbally, then that's where we may have blockages, and we're going to talk about that as well.
Absolutely. And I didn't even mention this when we were first talking about the chakras, but a lot of times if you're blocked at any of the lower ones, the upper ones don't usually get balanced well. So if you're having problems feeling safe, it's hard to be creative. You see what I'm saying? It's hard for those chakras. So if you're dealing with issues in your root chakra or your sacral or your solar plexus, or any of those, your heart, your ability to express yourself, your ability to find your voice can sometimes be off because you haven't been able to balance those chakras yet. So yeah, that's why I'm looking at creativity, projecting ideas into reality.
Right.
Remember I said that sacral chakra is where we create.
Mhm.
That's where we get a lot of our on the earth surface type things where we're creative and be able to draw and sing and dance and be an excellent speaker or be a great parent. We're creative in those spaces right there. When you have a voice, now you get to project it. Now you get to say, hey Kim, let's create a show. What's going to be the name of it? Oh, redefining authenticity. You know,
That's right.
hey Sheronda, let's do this. We're going to talk about this week. That's how you express your creativity through it has an outlet now. When you
Right.
have that nice balanced throat chakra, boy, all the
Mhm.
stuff come.
That's it. I love that. Just like you said, it's all about connection. I'm going to keep on going back to that because they said it's the passageway. Okay, just like you said, they start in our sacral chakra, then they work our way up. It goes, through that passageway into our mind, into our thoughts, and then we're ready to express them, be able to bring them into reality.
That's
They're
right.
no longer just a thought or something that we have an idea about. It's
Yeah.
now something that we want to bring into reality, and so we're going to speak it into reality. We're going to speak life into it, and
Yeah.
so that's where it's important to have that. And then again, realizing your purpose. Again, you have things in your mind, you have thoughts. We had thoughts to do this show, we had thoughts about what the name should be, all of those creative juices flowing, and then we're realizing, okay, the purpose. There's a purpose behind this. There's something that drives us to want to do this, to be able to share and to be able to offer what our thoughts are and our creativity and bring them into fruition for others. And so we're realizing that purpose.
Love it.
Yeah, no more than that. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Get on the
You,
blockages.
you want me to okay? Well, here's some signs that this throat chakra may be blocked, or what we sometimes consider to be underactive. A blocked throat chakra leads to feelings of insecurity. Anybody know about that one?
Okay.
Feeling insecure, being timid, introversion, meaning you don't really want to express yourself, and that oftentimes comes from someone making you feel like you didn't have a voice. You know,
Right.
there's children need to be seen and not heard. So a lot of times, probably not so much my era, and probably not yours either, because our parents started letting us run our mouth a little bit. But there was an era of people that really could not speak as children. Children didn't. You don't walk in a room. I lose it if my child see me on the phone and they want. Probably because I'm on talking phone like once a week. But that's not the point. When you see me on the phone,
Right.
don't come running your mouth. Be quiet, stay still. But you try to find a balance. When we're talking
Right.
about it's blocked, you really have struggles with just feeling like you're not enough.
Right.
Like what you say and what you feel, and even your creative ideas, you won't put them out here because you're scared. You're scared of the judgment. You're afraid of somebody. I don't know. I don't know. And I'm not being funny. I remember I had to say to myself one time, "What's somebody going to do if they don't like it? Whoop you? You gonna get a whooping for it, Sheronda?"
Right.
And I
Right.
legit had to say that to myself to be like, "Oh, I can't go out here and express myself certain ways. Who gonna check me, boo?" See?
Right. And I think that's because I'm sorry, it's that whole thing of social media and of like you said of judgment and of always feeling as though anytime you say anything is going to be up for scrutiny. And so some people just don't
Don't.
want to have to deal with that, or they don't feel confident enough in what in their creativity or in their thoughts about something. And
Yeah.
so when that fear comes up, it's like, well, I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to rock the boat. I didn't want to say anything because everybody else seemed to agree that this was the right way and I was thinking something different. And so, but we have to remember those are those are our trailblazers. Those
Yeah.
people whose throat chakras weren't blocked, who went against the grade.
Yes.
It's not until somebody challenged it that we were able to see that there was a difference. And
Yep.
some people are not strong in being able to say, I don't want to say anything because I don't want the judgment, and I don't want the scrutiny that's going to come with it, or I don't feel that I'm confident in being able to express why it is that I feel a certain way about things. And that's why you have a lot of people who'll do that. They'll just sit back and they're like, does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any concerns? And you're like, oh, I do, but I don't want to say anything because nobody else is saying anything. We
Right.
start following behind other people, and we lose our voice that way.
Yes. Yes. You know, I always go back to good old Moses, Harriet Tubman. That was somebody whose throat chakra was not blocked. If the stories we've heard are true, because she was like, let's go.
Right.
Even when they were scared and didn't want to go, when slaves did not want to go, they didn't want no parts of it. She was like, I got a pistol. What you gonna do? Come on. Because she knew that, but again, talking about trailblazers, those people who stand out and are like, I'm going to rock this boat because something ain't right. And I get it. I absolutely get the difficulty of not being able to express yourself. And especially, like I said, any trauma, because y'all know I'm a shadow work coach. And
Absolutely.
so any trauma that happens to people that makes them feel insecure or feel timid or feel like they have to go within themselves and they're afraid to express themselves, you'll see these things as adults.
Hmm. Yeah. And like you said, a lot of it starts in the past. It starts in the child. Something happened because, it's not, we don't know that something is wrong until we're told that it's
Oh,
wrong.
yep.
And so as children, just like you said, you don't know if the stove is hot until you touch it, or until somebody tells you not to touch it.
Yes.
And so, everyone was born innately with a voice, and it's not until somebody has said something and you've agreed with what they said that now you feel that feeling of insecurity and of being timid and being introverted.
Yeah.
So it was something that happened, and that's where you have to say, okay, what is it that caused my chakra to be blocked? What
Yes.
was it, something that happened in my past? Or what was it that somebody said to me that now has me feeling like I don't have a voice?
And let me say this too, Kim, because the second part that said fear of speaking out or expressing oneself, that feeling of insecurity. Somebody may remember we said there was external and internal, right? Sometimes our throat chakra will have an influence of how we'll dress ourselves because we feel too insecure to wear certain things.
Mhm.
It's still a form of communication, right? How we dress, like you said, Kim, you see the face expressions and how I express myself with my jewelry, my hair, my clothing. People take a read on it. They don't read it however they read it, but it's an expression.
It is.
When this throat chakra is blocked, we have a hard time expressing ourselves even through things like that. Simply
Mhm.
clothing and our
Mhm.
hairstyles. And you hear people, because you know me, I have long hair and cut myself bald. I will dye it purple and dye it pink. I don't care because it's mine.
Right.
But people will walk up to me and be like, oh my gosh, I've always been so scared to do that. Why? It's hair. Do it.
Right.
Good. Then dye it black. if you don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and just try those things. But again, if this chakra has been blocked or is
Yes.
underactive, it's scary to express yourself.
Yeah, because you're not even going to ask the questions. Just like you said, you're not going to ask the questions. Some people will be like, well, I was scared to ask you why you did that to your head. Why?
Why?
Why? And so, yeah, there are so many things in when our throat chakra is blocked because, like, again, we won't ask the questions that we need to ask that are going to help us to move beyond
There you go.
what it was that was causing it to be blocked.
You
So that's
ma'am.
something that's critical. Okay. Signs of an overactive throat chakra. So just like you can have a blocked chakra, you can have an overactive throat chakra.
Mhm.
Okay. And sometimes an over one will lead to gossiping and nonstop talking, guilty, and being verbally aggressive. Okay. It may not be all of those things at the same
Yeah.
time, but you may be a person, you got that one person who just, it's like their mouth falls off the hinges. They
Oh
can't
my
stop talking
God.
and just
It's
running
nasty.
out.
And nasty people too.
Messy, messy, and like you said, verbally aggressive.
Mhm.
They're always saying something out the side of their neck. You've heard that statement. You're always talking out the side of your neck. You're
Yeah.
always saying something, and for some reason you can't seem to put a lid on it. And that can lead to, again, self-centeredness
Yeah.
and dominating the conversation. You always have to be the star of the show. You always have to be saying something. You
Yeah.
always have to be, involved. Your mouth is constantly going. And that always reminds me of that statement. You have one mouth and two ears. Listen more than you speak. You're supposed to listen more than you speak. That's why you have one mouth and not two. So, yes, you can at times have an overactive throat chakra.
I know I have had it. I know I have. I've learned to tame it. And when I'm in my own space, like this space right here, what we supposed to be doing? Talking. That's just what we do in these type of spaces. If you come to my class, I'm going to be the more dominant person talking because it's my fucking
Right.
class. I'm teaching. You know what I'm saying? I'm teaching
Right.
and I'm coaching. I'm probably going to be the more dominant person. If I come to yours, I'm going to sit down and shut the fuck up. I am because I'm here to receive. I love entering spaces when I'm not teaching as well because I'm here to get something from it. So
Right.
again, when you say the two, I got two of these right here on the sides
Right.
of my head. So I'm going to use those to create that balance. I'm a talker, baby. You ain't
Yeah.
never going to worry about me never telling you that I can't talk. You want to talk? You can
All
talk.
right. You know.
But
You
I
already
also
know.
want to be quiet. And
Yeah.
even that thing of gossiping, probably when I was younger, but I've learned quickly you bring a bone, you carry a bone. They know what they say.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody will bring you a bone, they're gonna carry a bone. So you can sit there talking to somebody about somebody's business, but they telling yours too.
That's right.
So I don't do the gossiping thing. I do not come to me
Right.
about that foolishness. We can talk about somebody, we're gonna pray for them or something, but just to sit around and have whole gossip sessions, I got too many things I'm trying to do with my life. There's nothing. Your life ain't that interesting to me. I'm sorry. It's just
That's right.
what it
But
is.
just like you said, it's about balance. It's about creating a balance. Yeah, you want to be able to talk. You know, you want to be able to talk, but you don't want to talk too much. It's definitely a matter of finding that rhythm, finding that harmony, finding that, like I said, what makes that connection work.
Yeah.
Okay. And so sometimes we can go off the rails, but we have to be able to also be cognizant enough to reel ourselves back in if we're going way out there. Okay,
Yeah.
so we want to make sure we're doing that. And that, like you said, that we don't have to be the star of the show. If we're in the room and we're not the star of the show. Now, like I said, I'm a training manager, so I'm a trainer by profession. So I'm always standing in front of people and presenting and talking. But that's in my profession. In my personal life, a little bit more low key. Okay, so like I said, there's a time and a place for it, and it's just a matter of having that discernment to know when it's too much and when it's not enough. And that's where that balance is going to come in at.
Period.
Period. Okay. Talking about imbalances.
Is that me? It's me.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. I'm like, I thought it was you. But yeah, the throat chakra imbalance. So lack of control over one's speech, talking too much or inappropriately. I want y'all not to gauge yourselves too hard with this. Don't be harsh with yourselves. But There's some people who talk too much or inappropriately. I mean, it's just what it is. I know how inappropriate I could be. The older I get, it's gonna get worse too. I don't care. I mean, it's just what it is. Again, where? Where am I? What venue am I at? Well, who are the people that I'm around? I express myself a certain way when I'm here, and I express myself completely different here. It's about finding that balance. I'm a cusser. It's my favorite thing. It's like sprinkles. It's like a bunch of little
Easily.
sprinkles.
Right.
You go to, and I love my sprinkles, and I'm not gonna let them go. But I'm not gonna come to your business and you ask me to be the speaker of the day, and I'm gonna throw fuck out a bunch of times. It's not even gonna come out
Right.
unless I mention the book, and I probably still won't say the F word because it just depends on where I am. But how do we control that? How do you find that ability to even be aware of it? Because most people who do this, they're not aware of it. That's why I said I took the pause because a lot of times people will start screening themselves. People who talk a lot don't know they talk a lot. They don't know they talk a lot. I have a cousin, boy, nigga, breathe. Just one time in this paragraph that you got to tell me, sweet, but he's good people, the most beautiful person, one of the most beautiful people I know. But sometimes we don't know that we're doing it. And that's why when it comes to chakra work, it's actual work.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't have the awareness, that's when you, and I have this test that I do on all of my clients and I send to them so I can get an idea of where their chakras are. And the way they answer the question tells. You usually don't see it for yourself. How often do we see ourselves? Truly.
Right.
But if
That's
you
what.
hear it a lot,
Mhm.
somebody's saying to you, you know, my mother used to tell me that, you know, you talk crazy to people.
Yeah, but just like you said, it's about making sure. Yeah, that second one where it says not being able to listen to others, that's where we have to turn on our listening ears. We've learned that since we were kids. Turn on your
When you're
listening.
listening ears. Oh, I
Turn
forgot
on
about
your
that.
listening ears. We used to say that all the time in childcare. That's what you say. Turn on your listening ears. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because just like you said, sometimes you're not aware that you're doing it, but
Yeah.
hopefully you have people in your circle who can say, Sheronda, no, I'm big. She'd be like, girl, breathe, because I get excited. If I'm excited about something and I'm like, girl, I'm gonna throw up on you. And so she has to reel me back in and say,
Word
girl,
vomit.
take a breath. And I had to learn. And over time, I've gotten much better about it because I would go on and on. Because sometimes, especially if you're a person who is single and you may not be around a lot of people, when you finally get an opportunity to say something, you're going to throw up all over people because you haven't had an opportunity to
Yeah.
get it out. You haven't had another way of expressing it. Some people do it through journal writing so that they can get some of that information out. Some people are just going to talk you to
To
death.
death.
And so, it's just, learning, how to gauge,
Yes.
looking at people's body language, looking at people's face and seeing if you're talking. Sometimes I can talk and be like, oh my goodness, I need to reel it in because that person's eyes are glazing over. Looking at the person and seeing, and that's going to help you to gauge how that other person is reacting, the person that's receiving what it is that you're saying. Look at their body language, look at their facial expression, and see if there's something that's telling you, okay, wait a minute, let me reel myself in.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Sometimes we get so absorbed in what we're saying and what we're doing that we don't stop long enough to see the cues that people are sending to us. They're starting to shuffle their papers, or they're starting to look at their phones, or they're starting to do other things. They've lost interest and you're still going strong. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just a matter of making sure that you're checking out their external cues that they're giving
The
and the
body.
words that they're saying. Just saying.
One of
Okay.
the most important parts of being a life coach is being able to listen. To me, I ain't seen all life coaches can, but I feel like it's one of the most important parts because you have to hear what people are saying between their words. You have to be able to hear the things they're not saying. And that's what makes, to me, the best life coaches out here because, yeah, this person is talking about this issue they're having on this job, but what is really going on there? And that's what you do in healthy relationships as well. Your spouse may be angry, came home from work, pissed, raising hell, and you have to sometimes not take it personally. You have to listen for a minute and be like, What happened today? You okay?
Right.
Sometimes you can't be offended, but because you're listening, now you're able to read in between the lines and be able to see, no, there's something else going on here. How can I help? And that's
Right.
a part of having that balance. Chakra, throat
Yeah.
chakra.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like you said, and then also, like it says, not being able to keep your word. We can combine those last two and telling lies.
Yeah.
Sometimes what happens is we're so, you know, so we have a desire to please or desire to say something to
Yeah.
satisfy someone that we're saying that we're making promises that we can't keep, or we're saying things just to appease that other person.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that happens, especially with people who are people pleasers. Okay. I'm
Yes.
not going to call my husband now. He's just one of those people who just, so he promises and promises.
Everything.
Oh, can you help me with it? Sure. I sure can. Yeah. I'm going to be there in a few. Yeah, I can do it. Sure. I can do it,
Yeah.
because you want to, you want to respond to that person, and you haven't even thought about it. And
Yeah.
that's where there's that disconnect. Okay. Because your body tells you that, yes, I want to do it, but your mind says you want to do it, but you don't have the wherewithal to be able to do it.
You can't even
So
do it.
you wind up not keeping promises, and you wind up telling stories just to appease that person, and you haven't made that connection between your body and your mind, and now you've disappointed that person. And it's just, and this
Mhm.
becomes a continuous cycle of you
Absolutely.
wanting to please, of you wanting to just say things so that people are, that
Yeah.
you're giving them a response.
Absolutely. And please, if y'all are in here, not in here, if this relates to you, don't be ashamed. Share
Right.
in the comments anything that you love to share with us, because that's what we're here for. We're here to redefine our authentic truth. We're trying to do this thing a little bit better. Ain't nothing wrong with us right now. We're just trying to become a better version of ourselves, right? So we're just figuring out, how do we get to find our voice? How do we keep that thing in balance? How do we listen more effectively and all that good stuff? So if you come through, if you're here now or you're coming back and watching it later, leave us a comment. We love
Right.
talking about this stuff.
That's it. Because you have to know where you are to know where you're going. Okay. So that's, we want to make sure that we're talking about the imbalances. We're talking about the different things, so you can identify where you are in this process
That's
and
right.
what you can do to get better. So we're gonna move on, because we're still talking about more imbalances.
Mhm.
Here's the other side of the imbalance,
Mhm.
where you're getting excessive secretness or shyness.
Ooh.
You're that person who just, that hardly says anything.
Mhm.
People are always having to try to figure you out because you're not saying anything. And that's a dangerous place to be in too, because sometimes, people start making assumptions
Yes.
about you, and they may not be true, but because you haven't articulated who
Right.
you are and where you stand on certain things, they're just going to assume that you agree with whatever is going on, or that there's something covert that's going on. There's something
Right.
behind the scenes, and that just may not be the case. But you've got to let people know that.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. And you see, it says excessive.
Excessive.
Make sure you pay attention, because keeping secrets and being shy is never the problem. It's the excessiveness. It's the people who really are extremely secretive, the people who are extremely shy, and the excessive fear of speaking, where people are breaking into sweats, they're having panic attacks, where you're really having a true fear attack of having to speak. And it doesn't even have to be like a public speaking event, but just to talk to someone about something. I know people who go to therapy and are afraid to talk to their therapist about certain things. That's where you go. That's the person who has the unbiased opinion about you, and you're supposed to load them up with everything. But because that throat chakra's imbalance, you're afraid.
Right. It's like they have not found a safe space.
Hmm.
No space feels safe. And it gives off that they're threatened everywhere that they go.
Yes.
And that just may not be the case. But for some reason they cannot break beyond that shell of saying, well, I can say something. You ask them what their name is and they're about to faint.
Yes.
You know your name. You know certain things, but
Yeah.
it's just that excessive fear of speaking or of being able to articulate. Some people are just like, well, I don't know anything, so I don't want to say anything because I don't want to be challenged on anything that I say. And that's not a safe space to be in,
No.
and it's not a space where you're going to be able to grow, because until you ask questions and be able to express yourself, you're gonna get stuck.
See.
I see Gizzy said that used to be me, real bad. Yeah,
Hmm.
sometimes that happens, and it's not until we ask questions that we find the answers.
Yeah.
So if I don't ask and I don't know, then I'm constantly sitting in this space of uncertainty.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
how am I ever going to progress past that if I can't even ask one question?
Exactly. This thing right here, having a small voice. Let me tell you about my youngest child. The tiniest thing ever. This boy he's just so tiny. He's getting taller, but I can count the ribs. He eat everything. He's just this little bitty. And I remember especially last year, she said she was silenced as a child.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Makes perfect sense, Gizzy. But yeah, he last year his teacher would be like, I'm trying to get Kyle to use his big voice because he knows the answers. But when I come to him in class, he whispers it. I'm trying to figure out why I can't find that child in my house. Because when he's here, he's the loudest person. Loud. Even when I'm on this live with y'all, I have to text you every so often. Kyle is being too loud. He knows how to use his voice, but in certain situations,
Yeah.
it turns really, really small.
Yeah.
He doesn't really, and I don't know. I don't know where it would have come from because you know me. I let the kids run their mouth more than I probably should. And he's 5. It's like, why are you afraid to give the answer? And I asked him one day, "Are you scared to tell people the answers that you know?" No. I said, well, then can you use your big voice like you do at home when you're in school? He said, yeah. So I haven't heard that from the teacher this year. So
Right.
maybe he's using his bigger voice this year. But boy, some people have a really small voice, especially like what Kim was saying. If you're afraid that people are going to challenge you.
Right.
So I'm going to say it as low as possible, just so maybe they don't hear me.
Right.
All you're going to make me do is go, huh?
Right. Right.
You won't have to say it louder eventually. But yeah, that small voice comes from a throat chakra imbalance. It
Yeah.
does.
And just like you said, and it sticks with you, because I think of myself now. I used to be the loudest thing in the class,
Oh,
believe it or not.
in the
Loud,
wow.
loud. And the teacher's like, why are you so loud? And when she told me that, ever since then, some people are like, huh, Kim, huh?
Oh,
I have a very soft voice,
mhm.
and sometimes it can get lower, and then I have to remember to talk. And my husband's excessively loud,
Yeah.
and so he don't know how to whisper. Okay, you're like, baby, I just need for you to whisper because I'm having a. He's like, huh? What? You're just like, really? What? Dude.
Yeah.
Okay. But yes, somebody told me, and in my mind, I was saying, okay, so, and my voice has been soft ever since. Now I project when I'm doing my
Yeah.
training sessions,
Mhm.
and if I'm talking, but I tend to have that softer voice because I was told that I was loud.
That you were too loud.
And so, like Gizzy is saying, sometimes when you're silenced as a child, when somebody says something, it sticks with you. And
Yes.
sometimes you don't even realize that you're doing it,
Yep.
and sometimes I have to think, I have to say, okay, Kim, project a little louder, because sometimes your voice goes back to that soft voice because I was told I was too
Mhm.
loud.
Mhm. And I'm glad to see Gizzy say that used to be me. That means she's been doing some work.
That's right.
You've been doing the work and you were able to move past that space. Congratulations to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then that last one, lack of connection with the vocation. Whoa. I never even considered that one. I don't think I really processed that before. The lack of a connection with a vocation or purpose in life. That makes sense though, right? Because we were talking about creativity.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome, baby. Yeah, that makes sense that you don't feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
Going all the way back to that root. I don't feel safe enough to connect because what if people don't believe me? Imposter syndrome shows up. What if people don't believe me? What if somebody challenges me and says what I'm saying isn't true, or I make a mistake? So I don't connect to any one thing. I'll just randomly find a job and just do it because I have to work versus finding your true purpose in that thing that you really love
Right.
and then be able to pursue it passionately. But when you have that throat chakra imbalance, that makes perfect sense. Why
Mm.
someone may not be able to connect.
That does, just like you say, you may take on a profession or a vocation that's more physical, and where you don't have to
Don't
speak,
have to
where you
speak.
don't have to go into conferences, or where you don't have to present or do anything else like that. And that may not be your calling. That may not be your purpose. So you're missing out on what you could be called to do in life simply because you don't want to have to speak on it.
Yes.
So you're saying, oh, I'd rather just go ahead and throw boxes on the back of a truck, or I'd rather just go ahead
Yeah.
and do something that doesn't require me to have to speak that much, or to challenge what I know. And
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. People don't want to be challenged on what they know. They may say, I'm not good, I'm not smart enough. So
Yeah.
therefore, if I don't say anything and I just do this physical labor, that's something that I can do, but it may not be your calling. So you may be missing out if you have that imbalance.
Yeah.
It's huge. That's
It
huge.
is. It is.
Okay. Now we
Yes.
want to
So,
talk about pricing. Go ahead.
yeah. Embrace your authentic voice. Look, what time is it? Okay. I have to check myself. Balancing the throat chakra is a quest for self expression, understanding, and authenticity. Oh,
Authenticity.
again, like Kim was talking, when we were just talking about vocation, right? You don't have to be a speaker, but what if you're an excellent writer? That's still like you could be writing books upon books because you you're getting past that small voice, ready to express yourself. You know you're a good writer. You know you have all these ideas. You fantasize all day. When you're balanced, you get to be live that truth. You get to sit down, and nobody has to know you're writing at first. Write all those stories, all those things that you think about all day, all those fun adventures, children's books, those things that just are a natural part of your self expression, write them down. Then one day you'll get up the nerve to let somebody read it. And then somebody can give you feedback and tell you how great it is. And then you can keep moving forward. But that's part of embracing your authentic voice, being in love with your truth, being in love with how you show up in the world, and that you have a thumbprint that you
Right.
get to leave on the earth that is you just because you embrace your authentic voice.
That's it. I love that. And just like you said, it is a matter, like the second one says, embrace your voice, express your truth, and establish a deeper connection with those around you. It's huge, you know, in order for us to gain that voice that comes with the confidence of wisdom, of learning, of of hope. How do I want to put this? In order for us to be able to make that deeper connection, we have to educate ourselves. It comes from a place of wisdom.
Yes.
We we can speak about ourselves because we know ourselves,
Hmm.
hopefully.
Hmm.
Even if it's just to know our name. If somebody asks you your name, you can say it with no problem because
Yeah.
that's something that you're confident. That's something that you know. That's something that's a part of who you are. You know your name, you know your birthday, you know those basic things, you know where you live. Those are basic things that you know about yourself. And
Right.
it's just a matter of getting or creating a familiarity with the things that you're passionate about. If it's something that you want to know more about, you've taken the
Hmm.
time to read some books about it, so
Yeah.
that way you can speak intelligibly about it.
Yes.
That's what happens. That's where the confidence comes in. As a person who trains, I can't do somebody else's training because I didn't create it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I can do my trainings because I did the research. I wrote the slides.
Yes.
I looked up the information, so I'm familiar with what it is
Yeah.
that I'm speaking on, and that's why I can speak on it with confidence. That's why I can speak on it comfortably because I know what I'm talking about. If somebody just throws me in a room and tells me to speak about something I know nothing about, I'm going. I'm gonna
Yes.
clam straight because I have no idea
Yeah.
what that's about, and so I can't speak intelligibly about it. So that's what's going to happen when you're starting to embrace yourself, self-love. When you're getting to know yourself, you can speak more about yourself. So start there. It
Yeah.
starts from within. Once you embrace your
Yeah.
authentic self, you can speak on you. So
Yeah.
start there. Then you can start speaking on other things. Start with what you know already. And that's going to be your starting point as you're gaining your throat chakras.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful part of when you develop that deeper connection with yourself, you're able to do the deeper connection with other people because you've accepted you. So it's easier to accept other people.
That's
You
it.
kind of go hand in hand.
That's it. Okay, the throat chakra is also a source of empowerment and authenticity. It encourages you to find your voice, speak your truth, and communicate openly.
Mhm.
And you have to start finding places to do that.
Yeah.
Find, when you're in spaces with like-minded people, then you can start listening to what they're saying, and then you may start agreeing with some of the things that they're saying, and then you can kind of go from there.
Yeah.
But you have to establish your truth first.
Yeah.
Establish your truth, and that comes from wisdom. That comes from asking questions. So that's going to cause your throat chakra to open too. You have to ask, be inquisitive, be childlike in your thinking. Children always ask, what's the favorite thing that they ask? Why? And we have to be able to ask why too. How are we going to be informed if we don't ask the questions,
Yeah.
if we don't do the work?
And it says it will have an impact on your life, relationships, and personal growth. And that's what I want to get into. I'm hoping the next slide is about these affirmations. I'm hoping we can get into those before we get off of here.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. This is how we begin to shift and balance. There's many ways. There's crystals that are directly related to the throat chakra. There are mantras. There are hand symbols. All of these things will help balance it, but we're going to work on affirmations today. We're just going to do affirmations. So the first one says, I am an essential voice in this world, and my voice is heard. 3 times. I am an essential voice in this world, and my voice is heard. I am an essential voice in this world, and my voice is heard.
I love that. I love that. Okay. The second one says, I always communicate honestly in an open and clear way. You have to be able to articulate. I always communicate honestly in an open and clear way. One more time. I always communicate honestly in an open and clear way.
Love it.
I love that. We've got 2 more.
Look at this one. My mental and bodily feeling are always speaking the truth.
That's
My mental and bodily feeling are always speaking the truth. My mental and my bodily feeling are always speaking the truth.
mm, 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 mm. Had to let that one resonate for a little while.
Mhm.
Mental and the body. That connection again. That connection. All right. And the last one says, I speak my mind truthfully and with no boundaries. I speak my mind truthfully and with no boundaries. I speak my mind truthfully and with no boundaries. I love that. I love that. And these are affirmations, like you said, that we have to give ourselves to make that connection. I
Yeah.
love that one. My favorite of the 4 is my mental and bodily feelings are always speaking the truth. That's showing that there's that connection
Yeah.
between the internal and the external.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to help to release that throat chakra to allow you to be able to speak your truth.
And mine is definitely I speak my mind truthfully and with no boundaries. Sometimes I'd be thinking I need some police tape. I need to put some boundaries around that thing, girl. But my truth is my truth. I don't say anything without purpose. Without purpose. Even when I'm just being goofy or when I'm teaching. I don't put too many boundaries on myself because I actually don't mind running people off. I really don't. I really don't mind when people don't like how I speak because those who love it, love it. And those are the people that I'll connect with. And that's part of that connection for me. I want to be able to show up as me wherever I go and feel good about being me. And if you don't like it, this is not my space. And you're allowed to not like it. You're allowed to not be comfortable with how Sheronda gets flippant at the mouth. You're allowed.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, it's all a part of our wellness journey.
Yes.
All of this, all of that connection is being able to connect to self. And
Yeah.
those chakras are within us, and when they're not in alignment and they're out of whack, it's going to cause us to have anxiety. It's going to cause us to have some type of emotional distress, some
Yes.
type of mental distress. Those things are going to continue to manifest if we don't address them, if we don't identify them. So hopefully, like you said, we were able to identify some things here that will help to open that throat chakra and to make that connection. It's all about making that connection between mind and body.
Yes. And if you ever need any help, I have a beautiful test that I've been using for years now. Make sure you go to my website. It's www.authenticallyyourexpressions.com. You can go to the top of my YouTube page, click on the link there, and it'll send you straight over there. But yeah, you can have a session with me. We can find out which chakras want to act a little wonky. We can find out what tools you can use in order to get balance because it's important. It's part of living authentically. It's part of having a voice. It's part of feeling safe. It's part of having a connection to spirit. It's a part of just your divine, beautiful self. This is one of the most beautiful practices that I love. I don't delve into too many things, but this is one that I actually enjoy. So if you need help, let a girl know.
Absolutely, absolutely, guys. So that will do it for authentically redefining authenticity. Make sure that you guys like, follow, share, subscribe, check out the YouTube channels, and stay connected. Let us know what things you want us to talk about on the show. We're happy to delve into things. Like I said, use your voice.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So thank you everyone for being here tonight. We hope to see you next week. And guess what? Go back and watch some of the old videos. Make sure you leave a few comments for us. We will respond to you and we love you. Have a
Yes.
great night.
All right. Till we see you next time. We say peace.